While refugee resettlement promises a life free of persecution, most Kurds still struggle with the trauma experienced in their homeland. Some deal with health issues from physical wounds. Others are influenced by the emotional scarring of surviving genocide. The extreme conditions witnessed by refugees can further isolate them in their new home.
A lot of people, when you tell them your story, they don't believe what you tell them because they think this never could happen anywhere. We thought Saddam is Muslim and we are Muslim. How Saddam would do this, such a thing, you know? We had to bury my parents and my older brother, you know. You wish for something, but God is the one that decides who goes, who stays.
The refugees, most of them, are suffering from, persecution issues. The type of trust, they have in government department, for example, police department and things like that, is not going to be the same experience ever. We learned that police force was always, the oppressor, was always the killer. It's going to be very difficult. I think that is true to almost every Kurdish family, here and abroad. We lost, a lot of our, loved ones. And I think that experience, if you go to any Kurdish family, you would hear the same thing.
Personally, I think the lawmakers, the Congress basically, I don't think that they understand what refugee goes through to come here. And this may go to even city leaders as well. If you get a refugee status, you've already proven a lot of things before you even come to the U.S. And that relationship between a refugee and a resettlement agency, unfortunately, doesn't last very long. I mean, at most, it's going to last only 6 months, and that's it. They're on their own.
As new waves of Kurdish refugees were resettled here, they sought advice from Kurds who had arrived before them. Family and friends who had necessary skills helped each other adjust to new surroundings.
People that came here in '91 were village people, so nobody knew how to drive. There wasn't cars. The traveling was done with animals or by foot. That's probably one of the first barriers you would have to cross. You need a vehicle to get around, and you need a vehicle to meet your family's needs. My dad basically started picking up, the neighbors, and while going to work. Each day, one person would get the opportunity to drive with him while he's in the passenger seat, okay? So while they were driving, my dad's guiding them, telling them what to do and what not to do. And after work, same situation. Next person would be in the driver's seat, and my dad would still be in the passenger seat, just teaching them how to drive. They're pretty talented. They pick it up really fast. I mean, never being around it and having fear of getting into one of them and all of a sudden being able to drive one was pretty interesting to see. My dad, it was something that motivated him. Later on, he'd buy the cars and give it to a family member or a relative or a friend, because he had the expertise in cars. So finding the right vehicle for the people and selling it to them was something that he enjoyed doing. And just kind of led to having his own business, and he really enjoyed it. The dealership really provided a great service to the community. It provided a place for the Kurds to learn just what car buying is about, them being able to come to a place where they can trust, each other and being able to speak the same language. Nowruz Auto Sales was a place for that.
In the late 90s, Nashville's Kurdish community reached a turning point. In 1997, a new wave of Kurds arrived with substantial organizational skills. The Guam Kurds represented civic leaders and highly educated Kurds who were targeted by Saddam for their relationships with international organizations. By that time, many Kurds from earlier waves had also achieved a stability that could finance entrepreneurship.
It's ready to you.
In 1998, the Kurdish community opened the Salahuddin Center, the first Kurdish mosque in North America.
People were looking for a place to rent for a mosque. They didn't have a place of their own where they can actually hear an imam speaking in Kurdish. After the Salahuddin Center was opened, the mosque provided kind of social hub for them to come and see each other more often. The concentration of the Kurdish community in Nashville, you can say it's mostly in South Nashville, and Salahuddin Center is approximately in the heart of the community. If you go to other places in America where there are a large Kurdish community, it's not concentrated like you see it in Nashville. You know, for Muslims, they have to pray 5 times a day, and it's preferable to be in congregation and to have a place for regular prayers is something very important. This place serves also as a place for people to get together. And that's a reason why you see some of the shops are very close to Salahuddin Center, because the Kurds, while they do their prayer and their gathering here, they go and shop at the same time, and this has another impact.
The Salahuddin Center established a focal point for Kurdish life in southeast Nashville. In turn, it provided a suitable location for businesses that catered to the daily needs of the community. Azadi International Foods, a Kurdish-owned market and bakery, is one of 3 groceries within 50 yards of the Salahuddin Center.
You could go to the bakery and get Kurdish bread every morning, fresh out of the oven. You could go to the Kurdish store, buy a CD if you wanted to. You go to the mosque if you wanted to, it's Kurdish. You could go to all these different restaurants and have a Kurdish meal. A lot of my friends, when they come out of town and they see these things, it's a shock to them. Like anytime you have somebody coming from out of town, they always go to the Kurdish shops towards the end. It's like going home, you know, you have to get something from home.
Kamal Hassan, one of the 2 owners of Azadi's, works long hours to keep the market open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. At the back of the market, a small bakery churns out vast quantities of 2 types of Kurdish bread.
People, they come in, they get it fresh and hot.
Customers come every day to pick up this staple item of Kurdish food culture.
Most of the customers, they used to make the bread at home.
I love Kurdish bread, but it's so time-consuming. Before the bakery, I would bake the bread on Saturday or Sunday and bake a large amount to last the whole week. So when I first heard that there's a bakery, I was just fascinated. I was like, yes, Kurdish bread. I can, buy it, walk to the bakery. It's that close to my house. So I was very pleased to hear that and very excited, which is the same thing for a lot of Kurdish people, especially around my age, who are married and trying to really preserve the Kurdish food. Food is such a huge aspect of the Kurdish family. Actually, we've always tried to maintain that Kurdish identity. No matter how difficult it was to balance outside work with the family life, we managed to cook somehow. It's very heartening, to be able to really have at least one thing of the Kurdish culture, such as food. Being able to still cook Kurdish food and sitting down together with your family and eating, it's very, very, it's enjoyment for us. It's the best thing that we can, do for each other. And even talking from a woman's perspective, being able to cook, the Kurdish style and providing it to my friends and family, I take that as a pride, being able to still hold on to that. My husband's life and I, right now, we're in a very difficult situation because we hardly see each other, which is not very typical for a regular Kurdish family. He goes to school full-time and then right after school goes straight to work. I myself go to work full-time and come basically home, take care of my child. So there was no way for us to fit in where we can have a normal lunch or a dinner together. And the best way we came up with a solution is breakfast. We wake up at dawn to do our daily prayer together and basically cook Kurdish food together, sit down, eat together, clean up, and leave the house until night.